Hello friends, in this one I'm going to go through an exercise in complex analysis. So it says draw the set defined by z minus 3 over z plus 3. That there is the modulus, and then that is equal to 2. So I want to look at this and make a picture out of it. Let me walk you through it. So I'm going to begin here with z minus 3 over z plus 3 equals 2. And what I'm doing at that step is I'm pretty much applying like the modulus to each of the top and the bottom individually as a first step. Then I'm going to multiply both sides by z plus 3 inside the bars there. That's going to give me z minus 3 equals 2 times z plus 3. Now remember that a complex number z is really x plus yi. That's its basic generic form. So that means every z can be replaced with x plus yi. That's what I'm doing above my head. It becomes x plus yi minus 3 modulus, or absolute value bars if you like, equals 2 times x plus yi plus 3. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to group the x and the negative 3 together and keep the y and the I separate, because the x minus 3 kind of forms the real part and the y is like the imaginary part. And the same thing over here, I'm going to group the 3 together with the x. So it becomes 2 times modulus x plus 3 plus y times I. Next, what I'm going to do is actually apply the definition. That means I'm going to basically apply the Pythagorean theorem to find the modulus. So the x plus 3 under the square root symbol becomes x plus 3 squared. That y part under the root symbol becomes y squared. On this side, I'm going to have 2 times x plus 3. So it becomes 2 square root symbol x plus 3, that quantity squared. And then here I'm going to put the y down as just y squared. Applying the definition of finding the length of a complex number, that's all. So next what I'm going to do is, because I do have in this equation on either side of my head there something that involves square roots, what I need to do to cancel those off is just take the squares of both sides. So I'm going to on the left side take the square of that entire quantity. So it becomes x minus 3 squared plus y squared square root. And then the whole thing is also squared on the outside above my head. And on the right side, be careful, because you're going to have to square the 2 separately. So it's going to become 2 squared. And it's going to become here the square root of x plus 3 squared plus y squared, that whole quantity squared in that position. So next, I'm going to have the following. On this left side, the 2 and the square root will cancel off naturally enough. So I'm going to have x minus 3 squared plus y squared. On the right side, 2 squared will give you a 4 up here. And again, for this term, the 2 and the exponent and the square root symbol also cancel off nicely enough. So it's going to give you just 4, parentheses, x plus 3 squared plus y squared, close parentheses. Next stage in the process. I need to take x minus 3 squared. I need to FOIL that out. When I do that, it's going to give me x squared minus 6x plus 9. A fast way to FOIL is to do x squared. And then you do the product of the terms. So it's negative 3x and multiply by 2. That's going to give you negative 6x. And then negative 3 squared is 9. And then keep the y squared attached. Same thing over here. I need to do FOIL on x plus 3 squared. When I do that, it's going to give me x squared plus 6x plus 9. I'm not spending too much time on those because I kind of expect at this level you've got that down essentially. The FOIL parts, for example. So that's going to give me this. The 4 is on the outside, and then I have x squared plus 6x plus 9 plus y squared. Next move, I need to take that 4 and distribute it to each term inside the parentheses. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to have 4 times x squared, which is 4x squared. 4 times 6x is 24x. 4 times 9 is 36. 4 times y squared is positive 4y squared. Good. Copy that left-hand side and just drop all of the parentheses. You don't need them anymore. So it becomes x squared minus 6x plus 9 plus y squared. Now, to transition to the next step, it's just a lot of shifting of terms around. I'm going to kind of describe it verbally. So this is what I did essentially, okay? So on this side above my head, I have 4x squared. So if I subtract from it from x squared from that side, it's going to give me 3x squared at this line. Now I've got 24x positive over here above my head. So if I add to it the opposite of 6x, which is 6x positive, because it's negative 6x, it's going to give me 30x. Continue. I have on this side 4y squared. On this side, I have y squared. So I'm going to do 4y squared minus y squared, which will give me 3y squared. Now, also I have 36 over here, and on this side I have 9. So I want to keep all of the constants on just one side of everything. So when I carry that out, it's going to look like the following. It's going to be 9 positive minus 36 is going to give you negative 27. I'm skipping some of those, writing down some of those steps. Otherwise, this would take so much more space, you know? Continue. So now I'm going to have the following. I have negative 27 equals 3x squared plus 30x plus 3y. Observe, when you look at this equation above my head, the 3 is a common factor. So divide every single term on the left and the right, term by term by term by term, by 3. So it's going to be negative 27 divided by 3 is negative 9. 3x squared divided by 3 is x squared. 30x divided by 3 is 10x. 3y squared divided by 3 is y squared. Next, on the right side, I'm going to complete the square. So again, I'm just going to describe that verbally. So the way I complete the square is I put a parentheses down. I take whatever the variable is and I put it down. I take 1/2 of the 10, so that's positive 5, and I square that quantity. Now remember something when you're completing a square, the key step, or a key step is this. If you take this quantity above my head, and if you FOIL it out, at the end you would have 5 squared, which would give you an extra positive 25. You got to cancel that. So when you complete the square, you cancel that by doing whatever the 5 is. So it's going to be 25, but put the opposite sign, the negative 25 in that position. And you copy the y squared down. Lastly, I'm going to take my negative 25, move it and join it with a negative 9. It's going to give me, therefore, negative 9 plus 25 equals x plus 5 squared plus y squared. Oh boy, negative 9 plus 25 is going to give me 16 equals x plus 5 squared plus y squared. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite 16 as 4 squared. I'm going to rewrite that x plus 5 squared as x minus a negative 5 squared. That's perfectly allowed. A plus comes from doing minus a negative. That's why it's minus a negative 5. I'm also going to rewrite the y as y minus 0 squared. Why am I doing that? Because this form above my head is the equation of a circle. The radius of this circle is 4. The x-coordinate of the center is negative 5. The y-coordinate of the center is 0. So in other words, the center point is negative 5, 0. The radius is 4. We're almost done. So when I draw my object, it's basically a circle. That's all it is. So over here at 5, and I really meant to say negative 5 in that position. So that is my fault. Let me just super fast fix it. Okay, so that's negative 5 right here. So that's the center. And then from there, you basically draw kind of a radius of length 4. And then basically draw a circle according to that, the way this one looks here. And that pretty much is the whole problem then. I did kind of walk you through every single step. I did not write necessarily every single step though, just because then this would explode. Nevertheless, I hope it's been helpful and interesting. Please leave a like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in another video.